Hello and welcome, Dragon Ball Fighter fam. I know it's been a crazy month for the game, but rest assured I have spent all this time developing the best defensive guide possible, because we all know the thing that sucks the most in Dragon Ball Fighterz is getting fucking hit. So before we get into the thick of it, please note there will be a quiz at the end of the video. Yes, these guys will be leveling up. There will be a quiz at the end. Make sure you're paying attention. Everything will have timestamps for all the different topics we are going to cover. So yeah, this one's gonna be a doozy, so buckle up and let's get started. First off, let's talk defense in fighting games in general. Having a great defense and becoming the wall, as we like to say, requires two things in my opinion: game knowledge and situational awareness. They really feed into one another in a bunch of different ways, and I'd really like to have a discussion about that later down the road with some other great players in the future, so we'll leave that topic for that day. But right now, especially for my newer players, you need to understand if you are getting hit, and especially if you keep getting hit in the same way, you're missing one or both of these in some way, shape, or form. One of these is an easy fix, right? We do live in the age of information, and just obtaining raw game knowledge is very, very accessible. If you're playing Dragon Ball Fighterz online, you probably have access to Google, and if you have access to Google, you have access to Dust Loop, which is what I use for a lot of my game knowledge. Actually, they have frame data, hitbox information, system mechanics, all that good stuff is all there, right there in your face. If simply turning on the different tools and training isn't your cup of tea, I definitely recommend going to the website. I'll be putting it down in the description. They have tons of stuff for all the different characters. Just giving it a quick scan or going over some of the system mechanics is really going to help you. But yeah, slowly but surely, you know, if you just keep up trying, just consciously trying to work on your game knowledge by using sites like these, checking out other awesome content creators, no doubt your game knowledge will get to a point where you'll just stop getting hit by certain things, because you'll know what's safe, what's not safe when it's your turn and not your turn. But what about situational awareness, right? The thing about situational awareness is that it isn't necessarily a part of your play unless you know what to be aware of. The crazy thing is, though, this is something that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, how much you need to be able to see the whole screen at all times, and not just be able to see the whole screen, but more so like, what do I need to be paying attention to at what times, right? There's a lot of different things, a lot of resources on the screen, right? You got your positioning, right? You have your meter, your opponent's meter, health is recovering, assists are coming off cooldown, right? Once you're aware of all these different variables, you're able to guard a lot better, because you know what can and cannot happen. But the game doesn't really tell you too much about this. If you play the whole tutorial, they don't really talk about like, hey, you need to be aware of this so you don't get hit as much, right? They're just like, hey, this is how you block, right? And some people don't even go to the tutorial. So yeah, there's a lot of things you need to be aware of when you're playing. And if you watch any great player, you can kind of see how they're gauging their risk reward in relation to what the screen is actually telling them, right? What's available to their opponent, what's not available to their opponent, what will be available to their opponent, and what won't be available to their opponent in a short amount of time, right? So I know it seems really hard to kind of juggle all those different things while you're trying to play this really, really fast, fun game, but all you need to know is a good rule of thumb is just like, hey, am I mentally able to see everything on the screen right now, right? Am I just tunneling on the point character? If so, you need to take a breath, you know, a mental breath, as I like to call it, and just like take a step back and be like, yo, okay, what assists are coming off cooldown? How much meter do they have? What are they probably going to do, right? And you see how this kind of couples with game knowledge, and then you'll be able to just block a lot more effectively, and you'll stop getting hit with random stuff. I guarantee it. Just take your time with that. That does come with time. But yeah, now that we've talked about like just the basis of the pillars of defense, let's talk about what defense is in Fighterz in general. So defense is essentially begun in this game when your opponent has just locked you down with some form of block stun, either with an assist, or they read some aerial movement through a key blast up there, or you just been hit with a level 3, right? So just like in the last video we talked about, you do get up at a fixed timing, and the onus is really on them as far as what's going to happen next, right? So essentially, when you have to block that mix, you are officially on defense. So our goal at that point is to get out of defense safely, okay? And not necessarily to get out quickly, which is where a lot of people get tripped up, right? And it's not necessarily getting out quickly by hitting them, which is another problem that a lot of people have, right? They get very impatient and they just want to press buttons. Buttons are fun. They want that dopamine. Defense is not about that, at least not in this game. The game unfortunately provides a lot of quick solutions to defense, which we're going to get into, like mashing or doing a raw level 3. Those are fun and stuff, but the better players you meet will very easily identify that you like to go for the quick fix, right? Identify that as a crutch and just slap you upside the head with that crutch over and over again, and then you lose, right? So before we develop that bad habit, let's discuss all the options at our disposal and the different risks and rewards associated with them. Alright, so let's start things off with everyone's favorite, the most controversial mechanic in Dragon Ball Fighterz, Reflecta. So, for those who do not know, if you press back in special, you can pretty much negate any strike or projectile, no matter how strong it is. Even if it's a beam, even if it's a level 1, and even if it's a level 3. It does not matter. As long as it's a strike or projectile, you can just smack it on out of here, get a little bit of bar, and set up for your counterattack. It's a pretty cool mechanic, but that is where all the benefits do stop. You may have forgotten, I hope you haven't forgotten, but there are also grabs in this game, a multitude of different grabs, and you cannot reflect grab. Grab is a natural enemy of reflect, and there is another weakness. Also towards the end of the animation, you'll see here, you can actually get hit too. It should come off as a counter. So you can purposely bait this very, very strong mechanic. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't use it, but you definitely need to exhibit some patience, because again, like I said earlier, a lot of people will use this first and foremost as like a quick solution to something they don't know how to deal with. This is going to be our high risk, high reward option. Only use it when you know it's going to work. That's kind of the mindset you need to go into using this option. It's not bad, but there are ways to work around it. There are anti-reflect setups. So this is something we're going to add to our defensive rotation, but it's not the end all be all. Let's move on to something a little bit less risky. So next in our defensive rotation, we have guard cancel. This is going to be our medium risk, medium reward option. Honestly, one of my favorite mechanics. So for those who do not know, while you're grounded, you can switch to your other character while you're in block stun. Only when you're in block stun, not hit stun. Hit stun means you're getting comboed. But while you're in block stun, right, you press forward and assist, and you can use one bar to just get out of the situation entirely. Your character will kind of, your other character will kind of fly in. You can even do it solo, but your character will kind of fly in and just hit the enemy if they're just in the middle of doing something on your guard. It sounds pretty cool, right? Well, yeah, it does have its drawbacks. So let's get into that. How do we beat it? So your opponent can continue pressuring you with a lot of different low commitment options, and if they do see the guard cancel come out, they are in a position to punish you. So when your character kind of swaps out, unlike when you do a raw tag, you can usually block when you do a raw tag, but when you do a guard cancel kind of tag, your character can actually block a few frames after they actually touch the ground. So if they block the super dash coming in, you can actually get like omega punish. So just like reflect, we can get baited into using this too, but unlike reflect, there are a couple of situations where this is just the correct safe option. Okay, so if our opponent is doing a bunch of like heavy committal buttons, we can go ahead and make the quick swap. So a good example of this are just multi-hitting moves, like Adult Gohan's EX legs, for example. He pretty much can't do anything out of EX legs but vanish, and because the nature of the swap, right, the super dash, it isn't really gonna continue his offense in any real way. So this is kind of the mechanic where you kind of have to do your homework. Remember we said about game knowledge, right? You kind of have to do your homework and be like, hey, can this person shorten or lengthen this? How much of a commitment is this? But as a good rule of thumb, not all, but most multi-hitting moves are a form of heavy commitment, and you can just guard cancel right then and there. So if you can just be patient and wait for your opponent to do something like this in their block string, you are good to go. It's a medium reward option, right? It's where, you know, as we do our homework and get more experience, the average of the safety is going to vary, because someone can just straight up hard read your guard cancel. That is totally a thing, right? But they can't do that forever. If they just keep doing low committal buttons, you can just kind of leave, right? Low commitment means low pressure. If a guy's just jabbing your block, like jabbing you on block, right? That's like -3. You know, some characters have -5 jabs, right? You can just backdash out, you know what I'm saying? So eventually they have to commit, and again, if you've done your homework, you can go ahead and switch out. So it is kind of a mind game, but again, it's going to be the average of the experiences. Guard cancel is really where a lot of high-level Dragon Ball is played around. So people just draft teams around this idea, right? Because determining how much you want to commit can be a bit of a problem, right? You want to start your offense when you're pressing your buttons and you're trying to open somebody up. You don't want to be thinking about, hey, can they swap out right now, right? There's just a lot of things. It does cost a bar, but you know, resources do matter. But usually people like to pick characters that just like, oh, if they swap out, my character isn't really committing too much to their offense, so we can properly punish. So yeah, that's where a lot of high-level Dragon Balls played around. Next time you see your favorite pros going at it, just try to take a look at what they do on their offense and defense in relation to how much meter they have and what characters they're playing. But let's say, okay, that you have drafted the perfect team comp, you have found the light, but as a result, you can't let anyone on your team die, and you're one combo away from losing a character, and you just got put on defense. What do? That will give you one more chance, guaranteed, to reset neutral. Yeah, you guessed it. No, not wake up level 3. I'm talking about our one get out of jail free card, that little yellow thing right under that health bar that you probably think is purely a comeback mechanic. Yeah, I'm talking about sparking, and I know you guys want to save it for your big solo character comeback moments, but in reality, right, this game is a team game. Keeping your whole team alive is a priority. That's the facts. And you'll see a lot of pro players, they will spark early. You may be wondering why. It's because they understand this fact. So try to just work with me here. Okay, just work with me. Try to spark out of situations you just don't want to deal with. And if you're still thinking, I need my sparking so I can 1v3, no. Especially with season 3, right? We have the limit break mechanic. We do literally time sparking of damage anyway. You don't really need it. If you're down to one character, your options are severely limited. Trust me, you want to keep your team alive. So if you're under pressure on block or wake up and you don't know what is going on, just spark. You will at least get one more chance, okay? So if it hits the opponent, it will push them away. If they block it, it's 0 on block, meaning there's pretty much no risk associated with it, right? But it is a fighting game. There is counterplay, right? Just because you're invincible for a certain amount of time, you're throwing out this hitbox, doesn't mean your opponent literally can't do the same. If they got bar, they can level 3 you. If they just know you're gonna spark, they can level 3 you. Some characters have invincible attacks. They can just go right through the little hitbox if they want. Or in some case, I've had people just spark right back at me. They knew I was gonna spark to get out of it, and they spark right back at me, and then they just get right back on top of me. It's kind of weird, but it's totally a thing. But this is pretty much no risk associated with it. Ultimately, a lot of people aren't going to expect you to do it, and a lot of people aren't going to be as prepared for it as you think, especially as you're starting out. Now, people do have anti-sparking setups, okay? But here's the mind game. You see how this keeps happening? Here's the mind game. Am I gonna spark as soon as I get off the floor? You know, you may have to commit to confirm that, you know. So it is a mind game to it. At the very least, you may have to delay your sparking, but it's either spark when you don't want to deal with something or spark a little bit later. You do get one chance there, and trust me, healing up and keeping your team alive is more important than some 1v3 thing that may or may not happen. Trust me. So yeah, unless they literally have an anti-sparking TLD, you're gonna heal whatever damage you take. You'll be fine. Save your team. This is gonna be our like low risk, low reward option. All right. So just properly rotating these 3 options, right? Our high risk, high reward option in Reflect, medium risk, medium reward option in Guard Cancel, and low risk, low reward option in Sparking. even without any game knowledge or any awareness at all, that's going to take you pretty far in terms of survivability. The biggest takeaway here, though, I really want to hit this home, is that if you reinforce all these defensive options with just game knowledge, patience, and some awareness, you will become the wall over time. And there is nothing scarier to a Dragon Ball FighterZ player than not knowing when they're getting their next hit. Trust me. Oh my god, they hate it. So it is time to see if you guys have been paying attention. It is quiz time. I'm gonna give you guys I think about 3, 4, 5 situations, and you'll have about 5 seconds, maybe 5 to 10 seconds, to think of the best way to get out of the situation entirely, or set up a counter attack using what we talked about, right? Reflect, guard cancel, sparking. If you can think of something imaginative with your own particular team, maybe you have an invincible move, something like that, or a particular anti-air, you can go ahead and think of it like that, right? Nothing wrong with that, but I'll be providing you guys with what I think is the right answer. We'll see how you do at the end. All right, remember, we only want to use spark if we absolutely have to. Let's rock. So, situation 1. Teen Gohan has you locked down in the corner. You cannot afford to get hit, and he does this. What do you do? This one's actually pretty easy. The key here is a little bit of awareness. We know Teen Gohan actually just did a very heavy committal move, but what's really going to sell us on our guard cancel here is going to be the fact that he has no assist to cover up the swap. So yeah, we guard cancel here. Now let's see what happens when we add a little bit more pressure. It's a little bit more dicey. Situation 2. Super Saiyan Goku just level 3'd you, taking you out of the corner, but you're pretty low. He opts to Kamehameha full screen to take you out. What do you do? Now this one's definitely more of a thinker, but guard cancel is still the answer, because even if Goku Yellow instantly vanishes because you're super dashing to his original position and you're guard canceling immediately, you're just gonna go to the left hand side of the screen while he vanishes to the right. So the only thing to really contemplate here is if he's gonna actually use his assist. Typically people will take a Eraser Blow. Even if Goku did take a Eraser Blow here, it either wouldn't hit you soon enough, or it would hit you, and then the conversion rate off this would be very, very minimal. At the end of the day, you did get your initial character out of there, and you are safe and sound. And the same thing with Roshi. People typically take Roshi B. The Roshi B definitely would intercept the super dash, but the return would be relatively low. It would just be an assist combo at best, and just to confirm it out of beam like that, the Goku would definitely have to vanish. So again, guard cancel does end up saving our life once more. Now let's see a little bit more of a nightmare scenario. Situation 3. Android 18 just hit her corner BNB. You're down bad, and she comes at you with this on Wake Up. What do you do? You're not fucking blocking this, bro. You have got to spark. I set this up and I still got hit trying to spark on Wake Up. That's how hard this is, bro. You gotta spark. All right. But it gets worse. If you play Dragon Ball, you know it gets worse. Let's move on to the next one. Situation 4. Z Broly's got you in the corner, sparking active post level 3. We've all been here before. What do you do? Alright guys, I know what you're thinking. You can react to the grab. You did your research, you said that's reactable. Guys, it's not reactable. When this happens, you have to get out. Get out. The only thing, yeah, you have to get out, guys. There's no OS, no, you have to get out, guys. You have to get out. Please listen to me. You have to get out. I will not be accepting any other answer other than get the f out with sparking if it's available, okay? You spark, you switch, it's over. Thank God. All right. Whew. Now, let's see if you really did your research. Time for the next one. Situation 5. Both you and your opponent have no other characters left, no sparking available. Next hit takes it all. What do you do? So the pressure is definitely on with this one, but we keep a cool head, we stay aware, and we fall back on our game knowledge. We know Goku Yellow has exhausted his low option, and we see the startup of a heavy move. That means a commitment is on the way. He has no bar, no sparking, there's no way to get out of the button he just pressed. So we use that to guard cancel, right? Because we can do that with just one character, and then we turn the tide, and then we keep pressuring until we get what we need. And there you have it. A pretty clean example of just like being aware, not pressing under pressure, knowing exactly what the enemy can and cannot do, and having the foresight to respond appropriately when the time comes. This is a great example of basically what you need to be, how you need to be thinking in these situations, especially in the clutch. All right, be honest. Did you get 5 out of 5? Because if you did, you're pretty goated. If you're one of those people who got like 5 out of 5, but like with these real creative solutions, be sure to let me know down in the comments below, you know, with your own particular team. Nothing wrong with that. I love just being creative on the spot. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you got like 0 out of 5, don't worry. Good defense takes time. Just think of building your defense break by break, matchup by matchup, L by L even, right? Just reinforce everything with good game knowledge, maintaining your situational awareness, and before you know it, you're going to start earning your turns on defense instead of just waiting for your turn to come to you. You know, you're looking for a proactive defense as opposed to a reactive defense. That's really what I'm trying to hit home here with this video. But yeah, that is going to be it for this one, guys. So be sure to like it, share the video. When you guys share the video, it really helps the channel grow. It lets me know I'm doing a good job, and I hope you guys are getting a ton of value from these because I'm having fun making them. So yeah, that is it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Kairos out. Peace.